Hello and welcome to this cue breakdown of an ominous horror track. I thought it was appropriate for this week, but actually it's a brief I've been sent. If you just want to hear the track, skip to the last 2 minutes. For everybody else, I'll show you how I put it together. Okay, so this ominous horror cue definitely falls into hybrid orchestral territory. I've got a brief that I was working to, and I'll put a copy of that in the description so you can see what I was working with. But there's some hints on musically how to focus on different instruments and some suggestions of the programs you might find this music in. There's a technique I want to show you, which is why I've left this top track there for a second. But the flautando violin from BBC SO, and remember, any of these sounds you can probably find a variation of that you've got, but this is the sort of thing I wanted to work with because it gives that eerie sense of unnervingness. And we are literally just changing chromatically around the G, and we're working with a C root note, so think of it sort of in C minor. The reason for this second track of flautando strings is because it's slightly different. I've got a held note and I'm alternating the notes above it, so we get this effect. We're actually building on the track. Now, the reason for the first one is if you're writing a piece like this, you might come up with a section that has these different variations in. So here we're going from the G to the F sharp. But if you repeated these out, you would end up with a broken single note line, which is not what you want to do. The way I would do it in Logic is to use the join tool and stick them all together, then go back to the pointer tool, come in, remove those last two, and then extend that final note all the way along, so you don't get a break in the bowing of that one particular note. So that's something to look out for if you are doing these long held out phrases, but building them up by repeating. So there you go. That's the violin ones. Then we've got Crowhill Murmurations doing their little thing. And they move around quite subtly without me having to change the notes. And they come in at the beginning, have a rest, and then come in at the end. I've got the strings from U-Jam to come in the second half. Now these are quite loud. But work really, really well and really build up the atmosphere. We've got two bits of brass type things going on. We've got the Kepler Orchestra, and this is quite interesting because what you can do is set up different rhythmic patterns depending on where the note is played. So when you do a chord, you get alternating patterns like this. So if you put a range of notes in there, you'll get a range of pulses back, and there's loads of combinations you can do with that. Later on you can see I've done a slightly more restrained one there, and then repeating the first one towards the end. The other sound I've got is Arcus doing this. Which is quite nice tension building. Then we've got from Vocalize 3 this pad, which is C minor. So you get variations on C minor depending on which note you play. So you'll hear these different notes come in, but they're all in C minor. Really good fun and atmospheric. Then we're into the percussion elements. So we've got hybrid hits from Damage doing these nice big hits. We've got Uncharted 88 doing these things. and we vary those as we go along. The other thing to notice about the layout is you can see structurally we're starting off fairly middlish, then we're bringing it down, but we're bringing in these quite loud U-jam strings from about the halfway point and then building it back up with everything that we've heard before to form our end section. You might also notice that they're not necessarily regularly laid out. So when we get to these transition elements, so these whooshes from Damage that you will hear here, they're not necessarily laid out 4 bars apart, so it gives that sense of unnervingness to the whole piece, so you can't count when the next hit is going to come. And finally, from Gravity, we've got this riser at the end, which, let's just play it on its own. Quite like that. So that's how the whole thing was put together. I'm going to play it to you as a bit of an outro. You'll notice I've got everything actually bounced into stems ready to go. If you want to learn how to set up a template like this, then there's a video linked somewhere up there if you want to have a look. But otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.